You guys ever walk into a dealership, trailer dealership, or truck dealership, and you get a quote and you feel like you just had sucker paint all over your forehead when you came in there, or you were just, they saw you from like a mile away? I'm not the only one? Okay, I hope not. Welcome back to the channel, Make Money Trucking. Now, behind me, I have my crude oil trailer. So, not only do truck dealerships try to rip you off, I'm going to show you how trailer dealerships, hence my trailer behind me, try to rip you off as well. And we're going to go over some items that they have overpriced for an estimate, and some labor that you need to watch out for, and how to try to keep you from getting ripped off from big trailer dealers. All right, so here is my tanker trailer. A lot of you guys may be familiar with these, you may not be. But the first thing we're going to talk about is, well, here is an airbag. So here is another airbag right here. Now, how much do you guys think airbags cost? So I took this trailer to a Polar dealership. They're now owned by Koala. You guys may know who they are. And you know, there's other trailer dealerships out there. You know, they're not the only ones, but they're the name brand. You know, they're going to be like your Freightliner, Peterbilt, Kenworth, Mack, etc., etc. Well, they're one of the big dogs in the trailer industry. And you need to watch out, because sometimes they see you coming from a mile away and they're just trying to rip you out of as much money as they possibly can. They're used to big companies coming through and just paying whatever you know, they quote them. So I took my trailer in to have it so I took it in to have it, you know, tested and inspected, and they came back with a $7,000 quote. I am not joking you when I say this. $7,000. And mind you, I had been running this trailer for at least 4 or 5 months. It literally had gotten tested, went through tests with flying colors, you know, about 10 months ago, and I didn't use it for the first, like, I'd say 5 or 6 months that I owned it, and then I used it for about 4 or 5 months, and literally passed the flying colors with another Polar dealership out of another state, and then I get back and it's just an astronomical price. So here's how some of this will break down. So with the airbags, as you can see right here, well, there's one that's just a lift axle airbag, but this is actually the airbags that go on every axle here. And then there's one here behind here, I'll show you. So right there's another lift axle. So basically they were trying to charge me. How they got to, you know, you gotta be careful of how they get to the big numbers. So basically they tried to quote me $350 per airbag, which is insanity. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 of them. All 8 of them is what they quoted me as being bad. And I asked them, what qualifies, why are they bad? Are they leaking? They said, no, they're not leaking. Okay, like, are they damaged? Are they worn? And they said, well, some of them have wear marks in them. I said, okay, but you know, they are operationable. I said, okay. They said, yeah, but you know, it's always like the yeah, but you need to get to it soon, because preventive maintenance, here soon it's going to blow, or here soon it's going to wear out. Like, they'll tell you when your brakes are 50%, you need to replace them because it's preventable maintenance, even though they got half the life left back in them. And I come from a dry, somewhat desert climate, so like rubber stuff on these trailers, it dry rots. And then I come to another area of the country, and they like freaking dry rot freaks them out. And it's like, well, you know, when you're in a high desert, you know, that's just what happens. So and mind you, I said, will this fail a DOT inspection? They said no. I said, okay. So, but they tried to maim me. They tried to mark me on my DOT annual inspection. So I just took it to a local mechanic in the area, and that kind of solved that. So basically how they get you is they overprice you on parts. The airbags, they try to price me at like $350 a piece per airbag, times that by, you know, about 8 airbags. That was like $3,500 there, about $4,000 there. So that's how they got the first part of it. And then the second part is the labor. They were trying to charge like $180 an hour for labor, or maybe it's $150. I don't remember exactly the labor charge, but I'll have to find the quote and then maybe do a follow-up video and show you guys a quote. I don't have it with me. I was just looking in the truck and in my pickup and I couldn't find it. But yeah, so just for the airbags alone, they're wanting to charge me, it was gonna be like $5,000. So I called up a local mobile mechanic. He came out here. I said, hey, can you look at these airbags, make sure I'm not crazy? And I was actually gone for the day. So he looked at it and said, yeah, the back two are really bad, you know, but they were still working, right? So I had to replace it. They were $150 a piece. So we went from $350 from the trailer dealership, big name trailer dealership, trying to overcharge me on these. And their excuse was, because this is a Dragon trailer, so that's another excuse to get you. So it's really hard for us to source the parts because, you know, it's not Polar, it's not Heil, it's not blah blah blah, it's not Trim Car, so it's a Dragon, and Dragon's really difficult with like giving us the right part numbers because they don't want to sell us parts, and then they upcharge us on their parts. And although that may be true to some extent, it's not 100% true. They're just trying to justify and lie to you and pretty much not let you know how they're essentially ripping you off. So they say that to you so you feel like, oh, it's Dragon, screw Dragon, but really it's them. I mean, they can get the parts for $150 as well, but they choose to tell you that they got it for $300 and they charge you $300. And they'll be like, oh, we got you a deal, we took $50 off. Well, anyways, then a local mechanic in the area got 2 airbags for $150 each. So you gotta watch on that, because they'll tell you, oh, these airbags are really hard to get. So that's parts is number one. They'll overprice you on parts. They'll overcharge you on parts is number one. And then number two is labor. When they want to charge me $150, $180 an hour, the a local on-call mechanic was going to charge me, like, he charged me about $90 an hour, $90 to $100 an hour. I don't know the exact figure, can't remember. And that's how you try to save yourself from getting ripped off from the big trailer dealers, because, you know, they have a bunch of big companies that come in there. They bring 5 or 10 trailers at a time, and you think they'd hire people like forensic accountants, but, you know, for like truck and trailer repairs, to kind of go through their invoices and be like, this is garbage, that doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense. And maybe some trucking companies do that, but they really should, because they're just like overcharging on the little stuff. And, you know, say they do 10 different things on a trailer and they overcharge by 10%, well, that adds up to a lot of money. And then I go in there and they think, oh, this idiot is just like another big company that's just going to sign off. And I go, whoa, and you get this sticker shock. And that's why, because they're used to dealing with bigger companies that just sign off on stuff. And they really should invest in like having people that look over invoices and like see what's like fair market for like replacing, you know, labor cost and parts cost. So that's just a little example I want to share with you guys on, you know, be careful out there. And like, I even went on Google and tried to search for airbags, and I couldn't find an airbag, a semi-truck airbag, that was over 300, like $250. So right there, that should give you a big red flag when you're you know, when you're talking to these you know, big trailer dealers or truck dealers, and they're like, oh yeah, the part is this much, and you're like, ooh, that sounds a lot. You know, always do your research, because I looked and looked and looked, and maybe I'm not very good at looking very hard, but the most expensive airbag I found was $250. I'm like, how are you guys charging me $350? And then they like backed off real fast. Whoa, we'll get you a deal for $300. And, you know, that goes with everything. You know, reflective tape to you know, fenders, mud flaps. You know, they'll try to charge you like double what a mud flap costs as well. And then they'll tell you, like, you know, that's another excuse right now, the supply chain thing. Well, supply chain, our supplier. That's going to be the next thing. Watch in the future is when the supply chain goes back to normal, which in some areas it's returning to normal. It's not as bad as it was. They're gonna hang on to that for dear life. I guarantee you guys, is in the future, they'll be like, supply chain. Oh, we can't get it because of supply chain. And this one supplier that we get them from, they're kind of expensive. We can't get them from our supplier. I guarantee you that's the next excuse in the automotive and trucking world, especially, is they're gonna try to overcharge you for the parts because they're gonna claim that our supplier's supply chain. All right, guys, that's just a little I guess how to for you, how to not get ripped off by big trailer dealerships. We usually talk about trucking dealerships, but now we're going to talk about trailer dealerships, big trailer repair dealership chains. Don't get ripped off. Look at the quote, thoroughly go over it, price check the parts, price check the labor. If you hire a local or independent shop, they can probably get you the parts for cheaper, or you can call around and get the parts yourself for cheaper. You saw how he saved nearly a bunch of money on a power steering pump when everybody told me that it was going to be a lot more expensive than it ended up being. So just follow that and it will save you a lot of money. And hopefully this helps you guys out. Let me know in the comments below any situations you had. I want to hear the most insane quotes that you guys have had for your trailers or trucks from these dealers. I've even heard a company saying, well, this is another funny thing. So a company out here, they literally sold like 10 other trailers, okay? And they sold it to another company out of another state. And I said, why are you guys selling all these trailers? They didn't look that bad. They were like probably in about a decent shape as my trailer was. Well, it's kind of, whoever's on the other side of that deal was a genius, because they took them to the big trailer dealership repair place, and they just astronomically quoted them, just astronomical numbers. It was like $20,000 per trailer to repair, when I took a $7,000 repair and had it done for about, if I would have done all the airbags, it would have been about $2,500, but I only spent about $1,000, or like $700, $800, because I didn't replace all the airbags. I'm gonna wait until they get a little bit more worn out, or they actually do blow, and then I'll replace them. But so this trucking company took the trailers into the big trailer dealership. They quote them $10,000 to $20,000 per trailer, because remember, this big trailer dealership has probably done work for this trucking company before, so they thought, oh, just like normal, we're gonna rip them off, bend them over, and they're gonna take it like they always have. Well, then the trucking company gets scared and goes, oh no, we can't afford that, we need to sell these trailers. So they turned around and sold it to another company out of state, like a whole bundle of like 5 or 10 trailers. And I bet you, I didn't really take a look at all of these trailers. I briefly walked around them and looked at them because I was, maybe interested, but then they were already being, shipped off and sent off to their new owner. But I guarantee you, if it was the same situation that I was in, whoever this buyer was of these like 5 or 10 trailers in a package probably got the best deal in the world, because they probably paid, the lowest, market value, because the big trailer dealership told the trucking company that owned the trailers previously, oh, it's going to be this much. And they got scared. So then they just like sold them for little to nothing, because they thought that they'd need $20,000 worth of work done. And this new buyer probably ended up spending, I'd say, $5,000 per unit to maybe get them up and running if he did the work himself, or knows, other mechanics, or has the ability to do so. And that guy probably got a heck of a deal. So that's another thing, is it's kind of like, that's how it can kind of benefit you in a way, is if somebody overestimates a repair bill, and then next thing you know, like, you can get that item for real cheap. That's a dangerous game. You can get a lot of trouble that way, because you got to really know what you're looking at. But in this specific situation, that whoever bought those trailers from this trucking company that got that outrageous quote from the trailer dealer repair place, they made out good. So, but that's just a little example of, I guess, if you're looking to buy something and you know that you are on the right side of the transaction, how you could benefit from a big trailer dealer. But other than that, they're just going to try to overprice you, overquote you. And so yeah, to try to help save yourself from that, that's one way to do it. Hopefully this helps. Leave comments down below of crazy huge repair quotes you've gotten on your trailer, and then what you actually were able to fix it for, because I'm kind of curious. Because of my situation, I can only imagine there's been some crazy quotes out there. All right, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one.